professionals, Jenkins. We do not play on company time.
He did it too.
But I was here at the time when I was needed on camera 3 seconds before, ready to go.
Don't call out your brother like that, all right? You're in big trouble, young man.
Sorry.
Whenever we play this Hanskin interview, I swear, play it.
Yeah, obviously we're going to take the T1 series first, but I think VP, they sort of have this kind of style where when they win like really dominantly. That's their style. They play really fast pace and tempo, and they kind of choke you really early on. But when it doesn't work, it can look different. Losing to them, it's, you know, sometimes it's traps, sometimes we make some mistakes with the early game, and the game just goes like that. I think it's part of their style. We've definitely been up and down generally. I think for some reason on our boot camps we've been just smashing everything, you know. I mean, I guess Dota is just a thing that goes up and down, you know. There's a new patch coming out, you might be like, you're not really figuring out what's happening yet, like what you want to do. And I think we are a team with like, we have pretty specific players. Like we really like certain things, like, you know, I feel like it's not a secret anymore, like what's our signature heroes and stuff like that. And sometimes it might take some time to adapt, and you know, how do we draft these things, you know, what do we work in the patch, stuff like that. T1, they're a really solid team. They seem to be working really hard. Like, they played the Singapore major, compared then to now, like, which was the last time they played international teams before this major. It's just not, and I think they're a really strong team. I think they play pretty fast, and they're good at this patch. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're still like I think they're at the boot camp, or I mean the major hotel in Kiev, so they're grinding really hard. I think it will be a tough game, but yeah, I think we got some tricks we can show against them also.
It's a great question, Hanskin. What would happen if there was a new patch? I wonder. Where is the patch? Is there gonna be a patch? These are all questions.
I don't know. I would expect patch to hit right after this tournament, and we play. You know, I think we need a bit more time before TI. You can't just drop a TI patch after the qualifiers end, because there isn't enough time. So I believe personally that we're gonna see a patch right after this tournament.
Okay, it's a hot take.
Just ask him.
I'm wondering. Tell me your secrets. What do you know that I don't?
What did he say?
It's about Pudge.
Getting buffed, no doubt.
If you say so, I'm not going to hold my breath about it, but I need to see the heroes that are going to be in an actual game of competitive Dota. I don't really think it's going to be Pudge, but it may be Hoodwink. No, it's actually Winter Wyvern. Draft has begun. It's the lower bracket finals, T1 versus Alliance, game number 1. Played on 7.29D. I know, what a shame. I would have hoped for an E or a .30, but it's okay. At least we're familiar with this meta. Wyvern, first pick, Doom AA after that.
I already have a feeling that T1 has a better draft. They got the hands on Doom, which can't be played by Carl and Cuckoo, and you have Ancient Apparition, which seems to be the best counter to Vibrant, but usually we don't see it, because most of the time it's just straight up banned out. If I remember correctly, during the major, Vici Gaming, they played... I was checking the stats, and 33 games in a row, Ancient Apparition was either banned or first phase picked whenever Vici Gaming was playing. So, out of 33 games. So that's pretty impressive, and I think that also shows how strong of Ancient Apparition hero is.
Yeah, and with Nyx Assassin banned out, I think that's also been one of the main supports. Nyx and, I guess, Lion have been extremely popular throughout the course of this tournament. But yeah, for Southeast Asia and China, AA very valuable.
Yeah, I think if you're T1 and you're considering this line pick, it's usually really good against these disengaged type heroes such as Winter Wyvern, where you can burst somebody before the Holy Lock comes out, before the Cold Embrace even comes out, or just burst the Winter Wyvern.
Okay.
But you have the AA already, so that kind of provides you that.
I like that. We didn't get to talk too much about Alliance. So this is their hero that I like. I like the way they play with Magnus because it enables Nico Baby to get the more greedy items. If you remember the game when he was playing Juggernaut, didn't really have a good time, but they stacked the Ancients for him, had S and Y, and just become tanky early on. Like, since Empower gives you damage. Also, I've been very impressed by Limp on a mid lane, especially since he played like Pango. He's bringing in new heroes. He's been also very impressive on the Magnus that he played the other day. So just some good stuff. I think this style that they play with Magnus fits them well.
I think also I really like when Alliance has a lot of different options in team fights for doing different things, because what we saw in the previous few days is that this team is really good at figuring out creative solutions to deal with difficult problems that the enemy team is putting in front of them in these team fights. So having a Wyvern use ult and then Magnus skewer into the ult or something like that,
yes,
that is not beyond their capabilities.
They executed pretty much perfectly things in the game against OG when they had Magnus skewering people back from any kind of save, from possible stuns, and just get them out of the range of any kind of saves. And this is the exact same opener that they had against OG.
Both teams have the similar opener in general. You've got a mid lane or off lane flex core, Doom for T1, Magnus for Alliance, and you've got a one healing support, one anti-healing support, but they're keeping their options open. I was quite impressed with how they were able to make the mid Magnus look as good as it did. I don't really think I see offlane Magnuses make their way to Horn Toss as frequently, but it looked really good.
It does look good. Like Lacoste was mentioning, just the repositioning element is something that, I mean, that's always going to be broken in a game of Dota. Mm-hmm. Once again, if you are a team that plays really well around, creative solutions in team fights and these kind of high skill plays, you can just do limitless things with the Magnus Horn Toss into Skewer. It guarantees that that's a good setup. And with T1, the one thing you have to think about is that the way they play this Doom, whether they put it mid or off lane, is that it's a ticking time bomb. Oftentimes they'll go Midas. Even if they don't go Midas, it's always this kind of refresher Shiva's build. And because of this, you kind of always win the late game if you're T1, just because two heroes taken out of a fight is almost a guaranteed win. But Magnus is kind of similar. You empower a carry, and then that carry wins almost any carry matchup, even into something like a Wraith King. And so we're going to have the question answered, like, what's better in the late game, this double Doom refresher or a Magnus-empowered carry?
They might still even go for possible Grimstroke, something that they have done in the past. You have this either mid laner or an offlane Doom, and when it comes down to the late game, you have a Doom with the refresher, possible with the Grimstroke, so there's like multiple 4 or 5 Dooms. The third Rogue drops a refresher. I thought Leshrac is gonna get either banned or picked in this series, because both of these teams, they really love to play it, and they also flex it, whether it's a position 3, whether it's a position 4 for Alliance.
Cuckoo's a maniac.
Yeah, but March keeps him under control.
He does. Stop laughing, Cuckoo. You're on camera.
I need you to concentrate on this lion pick that Alliance is throwing your way. And they banned out Carl's Puck, but again, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they actually want to send the Doom mid, especially now that they have Grimstroke, like you mentioned, Lacoste. Double Dooms online.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I've seen them do that before, and Grimstroke, something that teams just are, I'm not gonna say abusing, but they got more comfortable with, is having 2 range supports instead of, if you go back 3-4 months before, it was always that position 4 Earth Spirit, Tusk, even Clockwork, something that can go in and soak up some damage, but most of the time you have that either from the mid lane, because as you mentioned, we see more of those like off laners being played on the mid lane. That's Tidehunter into Doom, which is not that great of a matchup. Usually...
And Grimstroke.
Sure, but maybe the thinking here, is you want to take Doom away from your carry. So you need to Doom the Tidehunter, otherwise he's going to be able to split the fight. You also have a Winter Wyvern, so like even RP. So a lot of big ultis on Alliance, a lot of cooldowns.
And once again, another one of these ways for Alliance to be really selective about how they take their fights. You can go in and Ravage, hit absolutely everybody, and then we can see if there's some sort of Skewer combo or Winter's Curse off of that Ravage. But on the flip side, looking back at the Grimstroke plus AA, the reason that I really like this is because Doom, if you're playing it in the offlane, which T1 does, it's a little bit of a weak laner in the first few levels, and so putting some hero that is typically a 5 position in that lane is going to result in usually the first few levels being quite free, because that's when 5 positions are quite strong. I know Grimstroke's definitely a decent 4, but with that being said, it's definitely tilted a little more towards the 5 position than something like an Earth Spirit, for example.
So they banned out Lash that we mentioned, plus a Templar Assassin. I want to see something that doesn't rely on a cooldown from Alliance on a mid lane. I mean, it's a mid lane mag, never mind. They need carry. What's left in the pool?
Something to empower, something that is good again, maybe something that can take long fights.
I mean, Juggernaut is going to be okay. You don't get too much...
It's banned out.
It's banned out, never mind then.
He's got Sven still available.
Fairblade banned out as well.
Most of the carries are banned out.
Yeah, they really
have,
are.
what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, all these bans from T1, pretty much 6 out of 7 can be played as a carry role.
There is Luna still, which I think would be pretty solid against the kind of lack of pushing.
He's got Monkey King. Oh, wait, what'd they pick? I heard somebody.
I heard... Oh, Anti-Mage.
Anti-Mage.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
I mean... Fantastic with
5
the Empower.
seconds
This is
remaining.
the kind of original
Alliances
Empower hero. You just
turn
don't have
to
to build
ban.
into a Battle Fury. You can show up the fights early. Against Doom, you can just press your Spell Shield. You can reflect that. You're really good at killing this high mana Grimstroke, Ancient Apparition. Wraith King, of course, you burn his mana. He can't respawn until 10 minutes
Radiant
into the
team
game.
ban.
And we have
Alliances
another
turn
pairing
to
of
ban.
multiple mana.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Alliances turn to pick. Radiant team pick.
Winter Wyvern.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Alliances turn to pick.
Ancient apparition.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Alliances turn to ban.
Behold the Horn of Magnus.
Radiant team ban. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Radiant team alliances turn to pick.
Wraith King!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Lion.
Alliances turn to pick.
Grimstroke.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Alliances turn to ban.
Tide Hunter.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Alliance's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Anti-mage.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Axe.
You may now select your heroes. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Prepare for battle.
3 different performances at the major, but here at ESL One Summer, they are in the exact same place. Lower bracket finals, Kyle.
Oh yeah, and I think T1 definitely going to be a little more motivated, considering that they lost in this position back at the Animajor. But it's a tough test. Alliance Online are killing it. And the Nico Baby AM, we don't see it very often, but keep in mind this hero was undefeated at the major, 3-0.
All right, Kyle, you've played with both Hanskin as well as Limp. I'm sure you have some personal interactions with FNG. What is your theory on why Alliance looks so much better online, like here at ESL One Summer, or last DPC, or the season before that, and
30 seconds to battle.
aren't able to perform at the major?
So first off, during the last 2 games of the DPC season, FNG was actually staying in my apartment. And notably, Alliance won both of those series. So definitely think there's something to say about your living situation and, you know, being in the same space as a former champion. But end of the day, maybe they're just more comfortable playing from home.
The battle begins.
I think LAN, not jitters necessarily, but, you know, online play has a lot of routine to it. Whereas when you get to a LAN environment, you don't have the same comfort. You're typically like, you know, you have to travel to the arena, you have to wait to play, so you're coming in cold. You know, you don't have time to play a warm-up overthrow or pub directly into your match. And sometimes that can really affect people, but I think they also tried, in a way, a little too hard with the draft. Yesterday, Limp, Tiny, and Magnus. Today, Magnus once again. Just keep giving him these strength-style kind of carry/playmaking initiators. And just see what happens. And so far, it's worked really well for him today, or well, throughout the tournament.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom Plain, what do you think of this last pick Axe for Cuckoo? They're gonna have a Grimstroke Axe lane trying to pressure this Animage, but the Animage does have a Winter Wyvern behind.
I'll have to see. I actually like it more as a carry against AM because of how incredibly high damage the Manta Shard build can be. You know, completely ignoring AM's magic resist. I was doing a lot of research for an article on how resistance stacks, and AM, I didn't recognize just how insane it was. Like, the hero becomes almost invulnerable to magic burst later on in the game because of how the mechanics works. So I think the laning phase will have to go well. Grimstroke's pretty nice in this sense because it allows them to apply a lot of extra pressure. But I would worry for Cuckoo though, because you need a blink post Vanguard really early on. Nice skewer, a lot of harass.
Yeah. Good amount of damage put on the Carl. They do have a lot of runes coming up, and Carl does still have a bit of regen left. You can see he's trying to contest whatever CS the Limp is going for. Bottom lane is going to be the Wraith King into the Hive Hunter lane, who's a hero who is very adept at being able to deal with Wraith King and his skeletons and the small instances of damage. Kraken Shell just deals with all of that.
Doing a lot of research into damage block too. I was hoping we saw Spectre in the
First blood just slowed down too much by the Arctic Bird, and now Cuckoo's going to find most of his mana is going to be burned away as Nico Baby takes the opportunity to put the pressure on 1v2.
Yeah, I found out earlier today. Damage block affects physical damage reflected by Spectre Dispersion. So it's part of the reason I saw at the major a lot of times teams were picking Tide into Spectre. I don't know how much of a role that played into it, but to your point, yeah, skeleton damage almost completely absorbed and negated by the Kraken Shell. So definitely a solid matchup there. Should be able to defend towers quite easily and force Wraith King maybe into the jungle. But mid lane's kind of the one I want to watch here. I think Carl's Doom, when he's been able to play it, it's looked really strong. And this hero, especially against the 3 Alliance cores, you get to that point where you have Shiva's Refresher. You know, that is game winning. You delete Mad Tide, AM, even just one of the 3. You're almost certainly going to win a team fight if you get them before they cast any spells.
Yeah, the pure damage is a good way of being able to kill the AM if he can get it off. on the Animage, right? It's just the danger of the counter spells. So
Yeah.
Carl, both in his performance in lane and throughout the game, is going to be so important for T1's victory or loss.
Yep. My two favorite heroes
has
against
been
AM
killed.
are Slardar and Axe for this reason. Because you always get the disable. You don't have to worry about counter spell. You know it's guaranteed going to land. And I love this Nico. The early Orb of
Dead
Corruption.
again.
I
So
deliver
good.
thee unto death.
Yeah, this is the way to play AM nowadays, I think. If you're not going over Corrosion, unless you just have a really bad lane matchup, you can't actually win as Animage. Like, just get an Orb of Corrosion, run people down. Supports are free all the time. Cuckoo is going to be forced away, so that pull is probably going to get the entire camp denied. So Cuckoo is not happy with how this lane goes. And
Radiant's
Tidehunter,
courier has
he's
been
feeling
killed.
all right, you know? Like, big difference, I think, between these two off lanes. Cuckoo is getting more CS, but he's having to burn through regen constantly.
This is another. Is this kill?
Carl? No, he's okay. Limp, not quite able to go that deep because he does have 3 levels of Empower in this lane matchup.
And not a bad side. Both sides probably going to play a bit more passive. I will say I actually kind of favor T1 into the later portions of this game. We also
Radiant's middle tower
neglected
is
to
under
mention they do
attack.
have the Grimstroke Doom combo, so initiation for T1 is going to be key. The one flaw with the Alliance draft is that their initiation really requires like a huge spell to be burnt. Somewhat unrealistic to expect your Lion to get all of your initiation, so either Limp or S4 will have to start off a fight, and it's really low risk for Grimstroke just to throw a Soulbind. If you catch 2, like, the Doom is going to land, and that's pretty much disaster for Alliance. So expect to see them maybe avoid those, try to play more of a counter initiation / reactionary style, rather than try to find fights themselves.
Yeah. Wonder what the spell block interactions are. If you are not the one being doomed, but you're soulbound, as Cuckoo's. Cuckoo actually get in here. They're going to take some time, but Nico Baby's having a hard time actually putting damage onto this axe, especially since he's completely out of mana. So he's just kind of running around with his Vanguard, challenging anybody who wants to fight him. Finally, they do get another round of first fight. Still, though, they're going to have to keep on poking at him from a distance. Otherwise, this madman will kill somebody. Or action a couple times, and there it is. Finally, they get the kill. Cuckoo doesn't really seem to care too much. It's he's just chill.
Yeah, but Limp already off into the jungle. And the one danger I heard Lacoste mention, I do like the double squishy support style. I think that this is just sort of because we've developed into almost a heal meta. You know, look at all the strength heroes in this game. We've got 5 on the forward. So, I mean, Zephyr's just not having a great time. But when you run so many strength heroes as cores, it's a lot easier to get away with double range support. But the trouble is, if you're a hero like Grimstroke and you fall behind, it's very tough to like find a place back into the game. Like, where is he supposed to go? I would say maybe bottom, try and finish a kill on S4. They might not do
Radiant's
that.
is under attack.
Very far forward with no help. I'm not sure exactly what that plan is, but this kind of gives away his life. We'll have the opportunity to pick up his hood, or at least pretty close to it when he comes back.
This will be the battle of the Carls, one with a K and one with a C. Only one can reign supreme after the series.
Yeah. Between the two off-laners right now, Cuckoo may have died equal amount of times, but he has managed to get a little bit more CS out of lane. It's just these two supports. I feel like Whitemon and Zephyr have performed really well for T1 over the Major, over this ESL One Summer, but I feel like Ancient Apparition Grimstroke doesn't really have a ton of synergy between the two of them, so they can't like move together. They move together, try and gank mid, but it looks very, very forced.
Yeah, you kind of said it. There's no real natural synergy. You get like double cold feet later in the game, both pretty high magic damage, so the vortex is quite nice. But they're just good heroes. They're very strong meta heroes. I think AA Wyvern are probably the heroes of the patch, and why I think we need a patch before TI, because otherwise, pretty much the supports in this game, you're just going to see all tournament long. Specifically AA Wyvern. The mechanics are too good, and no other heroes in Dota can do what they do. Specifically AA. Like, there's no other method of completely preventing healing and regen. And Cuckoo, I like this. He's going to come swipe the Ancient stack. Getting a pretty big net worth lead on T1. Yeah, it doesn't look like that way now, but that's a Max Devour and Midas Doom. And Axe is going to finish Ancients and look to start farming them pretty much on respawn. It's a nice place to be. Wraith King will likely move to the jungle, already has. This is going to go for them.
They're going to go for the Doom on S4. The first move by T1's cores, and it is going to be a successful gank. Meanwhile, farther up the river, we're going to watch Carl die here. They're going to try and chase down Zephyr. Zephyr is going to be pulled back into the shockwave. Pretty easy kill for Alliance. They're trying to invade the triangle a little bit, while S4 was going down in bottom lane.
Looking for Limp to get involved shortly. He's going the Echo Saber build, so he's playing more of a farming style, but he's the one who's going to have to try and make some moves here.
Bottom tower is under
coming behind Cuckoo.
Trying to trap him down, but he's at half health with no mana, so it's, again, really hard for this AM to actually do damage. They're going to catch up to Limp here. The Ice Blast is going to spot him out, but a skewer away will get him out of range, but 23 Savage is there with a stun RP immediately being used, but he may still burn out. Meanwhile, behind, there's Chaos. He's doing it to get the call onto Nico, baby. They bring him down? I don't think so. They just do not have the damage.
Radiant's
so,
bottom tower is under
Carl's
attack.
just going to run down
Radiant's
FNG, it looks like,
structures are
instead.
fortified.
Ultimately, it's going to be a support for support trade-off, but RP did have to be used to save Limp's life.
That's most unfortunate. It's the Max and Power build.
Radiant's bottom
I've seen this
is
a
under
couple
attack.
times from Max who play middle, but it's
Radiant's
really difficult to
bottom
do
tower is
anything
falling.
when you go this style. I think he just more than anything wants to buff up Nico Baby and help him accelerate a bit faster. Cuckoo is just crushing S4.
Slowing him down, battle hunger. If he gets like 3 spins,
Radiant's middle tower
he
is
can
under
get a culling
attack.
blade off. Maybe it's just 1 or 2.
He's not enough.
He's just below the line. No! He's hit and survived. He went up to 258 AP after the stick, and Cuckoo misses the culling blade as a result.
Very close. He had dropped to like 220, 230. The stick saved him, as you said. But the thing is, check out the net worth. You can see Doom is accelerating. The spins, I swear, whenever Axes need spins, they just don't get him. He had the window right there, and then stick came out to save. But he had it earlier as well. Either way, pretty content, I think. T1, they've kept control of their mid tower.
Bottom lane, Nico Baby's not expecting an invid Doom. That's just unfair.
Killed and cauterized.
Now he's got a Blink Dagger, so Carl is way ahead of the pack when it comes to net worth, though he's not so far ahead of Cuckoo, who also has his Blink Dagger as well. So mass initiation tools now available for T1. This game is about to get, I think, pretty active.
Oh yeah, definitely. The thing is, it doesn't really have to be, right? They're gonna eke out a net worth advantage no matter what. And I gotta say, shout out to Carl. I feel like he's just been a rock for this stack. You can say whatever you want about 23 Savage. He gets a lot of love and support. Like, none of the players on this team are not deserving of their slot, but I think Carl and the mid-roll in general is just so tough to find someone who can be, above all else, consistent. And Carl's been able to do so in a variety of different styles as well. Like the mid-Doom, this is a specialty hero. And when I think of other players, like say Iceberg as an example, who played it in Eastern Europe, he had like 3 or 4 heroes. You're like, okay, he's very good on these. I think Carl's list is closer to 20.
No, he's been stellar. 4T1. They're going to try and go for the damage in triangle. They pick up the kill on Oscar, but they're going to want into the Ravage, into into the skewer like pins. They're all gonna fall here as Cuckoo is gonna be the last one left alive, but he's got nowhere to run to. 3 down from a big move from Alliance. Nicely played by S4, just scooping up right behind him like that with the Ravage.
They really needed to get that. Like, some manner of finding kills. I don't think T1 should be here, though, to be fair. There's no real objective they're playing for in this side of the map. If you want to make this kind of move, I think mid-tower would be a much better choice. And in this case, they're doing so without Doom. And there's just no need to make any sort of play with Doom on cooldown and without Carl. Like, just wait the extra 30, 60 seconds. They're really not pressured by anything. AM is not a threat at the moment. So just relax a bit. Fight for towers. If you want to make that play again, do it now, but do it around mid.
Well, Doom is up, and Ravage is down, so we'll see what T1 does. I thought they were going to smoke that for a second, but instead they just show all their heroes here, and it looks like they're just going to rush at the mid-tier 1 tower. I don't know, 23 Savage was coming over, but now he's backed off, so maybe somebody said it's a bad idea.
And just being disruptive. Oh, hang on. As I say, maybe a fight.
23 Savage is going to be picked. They're going to burn away his mana. He's got 8 stick charges, but he's not going to be able to get it off double ultimate. Put him down before he gets the chance to save his own life.
Yeah, a really nice smoke from Alliance. You saw 23 Savage. He placed his own ward. Now they're going to get the ward too. So, like, the best smoke you can hope for, because you kill Vision and you get the enemy carry. It looks like he is probably maybe not supposed to be there, but you know, you don't expect your ward to be seen by already smoked heroes. Again, like T1, I really hope that they just make a move for this mid tower, though. That was the opening just before. Now, you know, Ravage is coming back up in 20 seconds. That window is shut, and their movements now will be against an Alliance squad at full strength. Notably, Nico, he went for the Echo Saber build, so Limp's gonna have to be really disciplined about ensuring Empower's always left on. It's better in the sense that if you are empowered, it's better to spend this money than try and like save for a Battle Fury or something. But it also means Nico is going to be a lot stronger early in these engagements, and so he'll likely be getting involved. You can't give away free towers, but now T1 they'll make the move.
Radiant is
Skewering on back. Cuckoo getting ripped up hard by all this damage. Jeez. That was a little bit more than I expected, but the empowered mag hitting for over 200 damage a hit with a ghost as well. They're going to be able to get the soul bind double doom. Splash out as well. That's going to be 2 kills instantly for T1. Now the other 2, Limp and FNG, were able to get back here. So they may still have a chance to defend this tower if T1 try and pressure it.
We'll see.
Dire's top tower
I
is
don't
under
think they
attack.
really have the ability to do that just yet with the build that 23 Savage is elected for. Unless did he just, you know, what? Oh, he went for Blink straight away. Just kidding. So he had Radiance queued up for a while, but he just straight up purchases a Blink Dagger. I think this is the right move because it'll allow them to capitalize on the pretty big team fight edge they have at the moment. And if you try to go, I don't know, Radiance in this game, like, what would be its purpose, right?
Yeah.
Farm a bit faster, sure, but it's not as if you win for guaranteed into the hyper late game. In fact, I think that their timing is going to be a bit limited, specifically around Carl's Doom and his item progression. Like, the BKB is insane. He'll be able to go in, Doom anybody he chooses, likely the Mag or the Tide, and theoretically Savage then can get onto a backline support. They really want to find the Wyvern, which I think any game you see a hero, you're going to hear the casters say, because it's just necessary. This guy is a game winner, especially when played by FNG.
Yeah, FNG's had a lot of experience in these kind of saving 5 positions. So they do have a BKB now up for the Doom. Cuckoo's going to TP in here, but actually cancels it as they backed away. Alliance backed away, so he's just like, okay, I'm just going to push out mid, try and force them to rotate over T1. Kind of setting up here, all going to be able to go for S4 now. S4 does have a sound on. The Ice Blast is coming in as well. Limp, no! He missed the RP! He didn't get off the blink beforehand. S4 is going to be burned out here. What happened to Limp?
The Scorched Earth, I think?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. That is so annoying. We'll watch that one again. As you could see, Limp was setting up to be able to hit the RP, and then all of a sudden, boop.
It's a deceptive AoE. Wait, was it? Was it the Scorched Earth? Did it hit him all the way over there? Or did he just miss Blink?
I think he just missed Blink.
Huh. Check it out after the fact. Can't believe AM. Plus 8 armor talent, level 15. Where is that so good?
Yeah, and he is farming up a machine thanks to the empowerment. Maybe not quite as much as a Doom, but that's just a little unfair to compare to. He is going to have his Manta very soon on Nico Baby. Meanwhile, Carl's Doom already has a BKB and is working towards Shiva's. Now, I actually was watching the T1 OG game yesterday, and I saw early ban, maybe it was the VP game, the early ban of Doom, right? And I thought somebody asked me like, why are we banning Doom? And I said for Team 1, I feel like this Doom is really good for them because they're so good at late game team fights, and Doom always gives you a late game edge. Would you, in general, agree with that?
It just makes the game plan simpler, right? Like you're always gonna have tools to win a game. You never really feel like your draft is gonna fall off. So it allows T1 to just play a more balanced style. Like if you instead of Doom
Radiant's
are running
top tower is
pretty
under
much
attack.
anything that doesn't have Devour and Midas, like you're on more of a clock. But even in this game, you're playing against Mag, Hide, Anti-Mage, but it doesn't feel like you're on a clock at all. And I think that's all the power of the Doom.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, especially with Hanskin describing T1 style as being very oppressive. Like they like to pressure you a lot early on. Doom is certainly a hero that, as you're saying, like can go late game thanks to the way he generates gold, but he's also able to be active and pressure enemy heroes. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for T1.
Yeah, but you can see their gold lead is growing. You know, you don't typically see this against Empower drafts, but this is what happens when you have a Doom, a Wraith King, just constantly farming his Cuckoo. No, he's going to go BKB, so they won't have the Manta Shard Axe. I think that's actually a pretty big power spike if he does go that route, just for killing the Anti-Mage. They will have some difficulty with that if they don't get the Doom off.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he isn't going that route, because as you said, the pure damage is so effective, but I guess maybe they feel like that would be putting too many eggs into a late game basket. Still though, I mean, I'm looking at this is mostly a single core draft for Alliance, right? Like this man can scale up and do a lot of physical damage, but they're mostly riding on the AM's late game output. I feel like Doom always is a pretty good answer to that.
Just crazy. I haven't seen mid towers alive this long in some time. It's 22 minutes almost. No Roche threat, and because there's no tier 1s, you can't really make a play for Roche. You need to make a play for kills. They're gonna go for it. Savage.
23 Savage has the shard, so he is not going to die here right away.
Radiant's middle tower
But on his second life, he's going to come back and just instantly die again. He will. There's nothing they can do about that. There's just too many heroes on top of the carry of T1. Now, not only is the Wraith King dead, but Reincarnation is on cooldown. T1 are not going to go and let this Roshan happen for free. Smoke breaks. Cuckoo, look at his position.
Dire's top tower
This
is under attack.
They can get this TD. Oh, stop coming in. 2 minutes all bite with the dominating swell. Just beautiful stuff from T1. And the fight is seemingly already over as the two cores are dead. As for he tried to put the kill on the White Miner. Winter's Curse does actually hold them in place and kills the Ancient Apparition finally. Maybe they can get out of here, but they're not going to win this fight without their 2 damage dealers. Hey, okay, Cold Embrace after Cold Embrace is saving him. Carl's done with that nonsense, though. He chases away the Winter Wyvern while his other 2 allies focus on the S4 Tidehunter. 3rd core down, and Alliance lose control of the pits. 23 Savages back online, and he wants that mid tower.
You gotta respect T1 a little bit more, Cap. They have no Ravage. There was a buyback on the Wraith King, but they didn't even have to use it because the perfect initiation
Dire's
comes
middle
off, and
tower has
perhaps
fallen.
they were lulled into a false sense of security. They had the ward to the left, so they just don't see anybody, and then before you know it, you're double stomped and double doomed on both your cores. So really, just excellent job. T1, it's the patience that's been winning them a lot of their games, because if they rush in, they try to get a DP on their Doom, like, they're not getting the initiation, they're not winning that fight. But they have the wherewithal to just camp the high ground, wait, and Alliance just wander into their own demise. Really nice job. Hanskin did a cool play at the end there. He mana drained Carl, preventing the second Scorched Earth and a potential War Stomp, so that actually saved both supports' lives. But either way, huge win for T1. I think they're going to be content to just chill now, wait for Doom to come back up. You have BKB on Wraith King soon. He's going to need that, or he's going to die twice in a row. Pretty much all game.
Reincarnation is back up again, but 23 Savage is being patient. Left managed to find an skewer back onto Tube, unable to get off the RP, but he does so now. So that is going to be both of them dying. Oh, Cuckoo doesn't get off his beacon. Even a call with Angel as well, the double survive, the silence stacking up, and they are both dead. Now FNG chased out by Carl as well. Once again, T1 just responding to Alliance and out-initiating them. I thought this time around, a nice two-man RP, but damn, Cuckoo survives through just long enough to get off his BKB, and now he's going to be able to catch 23 Savage as well. The stun follow-up, the silence put onto him, that is going to potentially be a team as long as they've got enough stuns, and they do.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, with the tips too. I like it. What in the hell is Nico Baby doing back there? Either way, that is a team wipe. And Alliance just, again, they don't respect the power of T1. They get the kill on Wraith King. You said, oh, they're both dead. Yeah, well, Wraith King has built-in Reincarnate, and Cuckoo had a BKB. Like, he has 3,000 health. There's no way that these are the right RP targets, and Alliance, like, they just don't have sustained damage in teamfights right now because their AM is not farmed. Like, he's equal with a Wraith King, and he's had Empower all game. Like, that is nowhere near enough gold to try and carry this out. 12k gold lead, and look at the build, like Carl. He's got Refresher, he's halfway there almost.
Man, they used the Finger of Death on the right target too to try and blow up Cuckoo fast enough, and it still wasn't enough. This man is so tanky, Jesus. Just a Vanguard and a BKB, and he's got 3,000 HP. I think he was escaping from the team fight. Maybe he was cutting creep.
Well, he had teleport in 20 seconds. He was just getting greedy. And T1, they're just gonna Anti-Mage, yeah, sure, I'll blow a TP and try and make it happen. See if we get any giggles. A couple.
And it feels like, Kyle, that that pressure that we're talking about, that late game pressure of like, okay, we don't actually outscale the enemy, that I feel like Alliance is feeling that pressure a lot, and that's why they're trying to make these moves, but they're not doing it as cleanly as T1 has been able.
Scanning.
I mean, just look at the late game now. Because of Zephyr's performance and how many kills he's been a part of, he's gonna have an Aghanim Scepter soon. So if they ever catch the AM with a Soulblind and then they manage to Dark Portrait him, his own illusion is gonna burn through all of his mana.
Dire's structures are fortified.
T1
Dire's middle tower is under Radiant's top
all of
tower.
their heroes can continue to buy pretty much just a full set of more items, like 23 Savages, what, Armor, BKB, Blink, he can get a hell of a lot stronger.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Nice read there by Hanskin. Blink it away, just as Cuckoo trying to find him. Still, though, it doesn't solve the current problem, which is that T1 is sort of able to just 5-man around, massacring buildings as they go. And Alliance can only play the edges of the map right now.
I really like the decision. 23 Savage buying the Shard really early has cemented them in this game. And a lot of times carry players, they can get a bit greedy, especially when they're somewhat off their typical pace, and they'll want to go for, something that helps them accelerate. But he recognized, like, I will never get ult off without Shard. They're like, it's Alliance. They're going to be focused on the mana drain. They know how to play this game. And Shard is ensured that he actually can't be that initial target. Carl is playing in a way that makes it very tough for him to be found, but like we saw at the Major, I think Alliance need to recognize that they need to kill Doom to have any hope of winning a team fight, especially when this Refresher gets completed, and that's more than halfway complete.
It's just crazy to me that T1, like how effective they've been at team fighting around each other. I mean, we were talking about how like Doom is a very simple button, but consistently pulling off the Soulbind double Doom combo. Like I've seen teams with this two heroes, like, and they just never get the combo off a single time. And here, it feels like Zephyr is just always able to find not just a Soulbind, but a really good Soulbind on like 2 cores. You know, it's been kind of insane, and I feel like in some ways that has to be Alliance screwing up their positioning a bit.
I think they're just not really recognizing how fights have to start. Like, even as an example, when they killed Savage on Ancients, right, and run into the pit, you blew Ravage for that. If he has buyback, it's equalized. And then they run out as if T1 don't have, like, hero deleting abilities. Like, you can't fall asleep. Like, Grimstroke and Doom, you have to recognize that these heroes, if they're allowed to free cast in a fight, you're going to lose that engagement, especially now that BKBs are out, which effectively removes S4's hero from the game. Like, Tide's fantastic, but Doom just does everything better. And I think, you heard Lacoste on the panel, he's like kind of questioning it, because that's like, he's been retired for like 8 years, but even back at TI2, you knew, hey, don't pick Tide into Doom.
And back then, we knew that AM versus Wraith King was good, as they're going to be able to find the Winter Wyvern. But back then, Wraith King didn't have talents or shard. And nowadays, just at 20 minutes, the Wraith King is already able to deal with the quote-unquote counter.
T1, they're just chilling. They are in no hurry whatsoever. Alliance at some point are going to get feisty. They're going to think, all right, we got our spells, we're falling behind, let's try and get a gank going, because they just don't have the space on the map for Nico Baby to really confidently stretch his legs. But I don't know.
Oh no, S4. That's 1,000 damage crit. Nice blast as well. BKB being used just to make sure they do get this kind of free kill that was available. Very unfortunate for S4 as he was just about to take that DD, and then maybe 23 Savage doesn't have the same kind of damage to threaten him. But now, 23 Savage, after getting that killed, is just going to force things around the Roshan pit, and they're going to claim the first Aegis of the game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The other thing about the BKBs that are really interesting is that it kind of removes FNG. Like the whole support duo can't play Dota into this triple BKB, and they picked them up quite early for all 3 heroes. They had them before 25. Wyvern Curse, obviously, it can freeze the unit, but if you are BKB'd, you're not going to be brought in to attack that ally. So you don't have that turnaround potential. Like Alliance, their whole draft is kind of engineered on this idea that the Wyvern and the Mag kind of cover each other. But Wyvern can't do that. You can at best stop a hero for a couple of seconds. What's going on?
Who's just trying to take the outpost, and Huskin was just messing with him for like 20 seconds straight. He threw 2 Earth Spikes and a Hex each time to stop him from getting out the outpost. Obviously, they will eventually get it, and they will very likely be getting this tier 2 tower as Alliance.
Oh, look at Carl, man. I love it. He didn't get the refresher. He went back for Eon Disc. Because the only way Alliance win a fight is by killing him, and now you can't.
That's a good point.
Sick. Like, refresher wasn't needed, right? You already have double Doom thanks to your Grimstroke. If you survive and cast R, you will win the fight for your team.
Oh, it's here, Kyle.
Oh, God, the Ags, too.
The Aghanim Scepter, Dark Portrait against an Animage. Oh, God.
And Cuckoo, he'll have a Mantis suit. Like, they're just so strong. Like, every item they're buying is massive damage increase. And the only person on Alliance whose net worth is even slowly increasing is their AM. And there's just not enough damage on him, Cap. Now an AC, that's a 10 armor switcheroo.
I mean, Alliance, they do have this big team fight that they've got 3 different heroes with just the massive team fight changing abilities. They've got Ravage, RP, and Winter's Curse. But it feels like even if they get off the dream scenario at this point against the 3 strength cores and not having any percentage-based damage, they're going to have a very hard time actually winning that team fight, even if they do hit the biggest stunning ultimates.
They need a miracle. Carl has Arcaner, and he really wants to get in.
Oh, and the smoke out from Alliance, but they're going to run right into 23 Savage.
Zephyr just wants to look at they're ready. They just want a soul bind.
Jump right out into it. He deleted soul bind and double kill. It just keeps happening. They're so good at it. These combinations, and now they're going to be able to get the call onto FNG as well. So Winter's Curse, they already thrown out, but it doesn't do anything. Grimstroke actually using his infant. There goes the Dark Fortune. He's silenced up. He's in as well, and now he's controlled as well. Oh my God, they didn't even need the Doom, and it showed. They just swamped Alliance with straight up Soulbind and beautiful blink initiation. So, absolutely perfect stuff.
I mean, they just crushed it. Like, they didn't lose an engagement after like 15 minutes. And honestly, it's like not even competitive for the last half of that game. Like, Alliance, they went with their bread and butter. Like, this.
Yep. Axe, though.
You guys okay there?
They're
No.
on curveball.
I haven't been okay for the last 4 months because it's been a long
I really
journey.
do appreciate that you asked, though. Nobody asks.
Yeah, no one ever asks, like, how you guys doing? It's always like, what do you guys think about these picks?
Yeah.
And, like,
They always
who's
say,
gonna win?
when's the draft, but they never ask, how's the draft?
There we go.
How is this draft, though?
T1 Doom again.
Okay, the draft is great.
Oh, congratulations to
Question
T1 making it into the grand final. Oh, we'll see. There's a reason Alliance is leaving this in. They feel confident they
Insanity?
can deal with it.
There it is. That's
Okay.
the answer. That's how you disengage. Why not get Puck here?
Yeah, that's right. Carl Puck, Cuckoo Doom. Let's do it.
Carl Puck, Cuckoo Doom sounds fine to me. You just want to have someone that holds them in place while there's a stampede going on, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. Maybe they're not gonna first phase it to keep things open, to have this Doom being able to be played. And there we go. Sorry
There's my
about
boy
that.
Whitemon.
Whitemon always munching on something. This time around, it seems like a chips.
Yeah. With some salt and vinegar, maybe some sour cream and onion. I don't really see any particles on that chip. It looks maybe
on.
just a straight potato.
Insert it. Eat the chip.
I need to test why it's crunch
We
consistency.
need to see the chip.
March is
eaten.
like... Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Oh, he's
just a nibble.
He's nibbling on it.
Just a little nibbler.
I see. Okay.
Oh,
He's enjoying his food.
Whoa,
I
man,
appreciate
I don't
that.
think I've ever done
I
that.
don't savor chips like that.
This is like a Canadian way of eating. I really appreciate
really.
this.
Don't
Yeah.
you guys have ketchup chips? in
We
Canada?
do, yeah, and those are great to nibble on and just suck the ketchup right off, and
That
you don't even need to eat the chip; you just suck the ketchup. Anyway, back into the draft. Get him off
talking
the
about
screen.
it's the mana drain from Lion.
Of course,
Of
yes.
course.
It's something to prevent the disengage. If you can just blow a hero up so quickly that the disengage coming out wouldn't even matter, that's always a little bit of a counter. Also, you can just blow up the Centaur before the fight even starts, blow up the Wyvern before the fight even starts. Whoever presents more of a problem, they
Burst.
just become your focus.
Magic burst damage against the cold embrace. You've heard it time and time again if you've been watching these panels. Because Wyvern is incredibly popular and is probably high on the list to get nerfed. Which is, okay, how about NA DPC? Because I know SEA, China DPC, we didn't see that much Wyvern.
We didn't.
This was an animator thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about
for
NA
us.
DPC?
We saw Wyvern.
You did?
It wasn't with this Holy Locket though. It was the Witch's Blade right-clicking Wyvern.
Oh, you saw Core Wyvern.
Yeah, well, no. To put 4 Wyvern by building these kind of core items, Orchid and Witch's Blade.
Okay.
It looked good, and I think that's one of the big reasons why this hero is so viable as a first phase, because there are multiple ways of building her. You can do the Witch's Blade and be a right clicker. You can go for the Ether Lens and be a kind of counter initiator hero, and then you can also.
We saw Aghanim Scepter yesterday, which was
Yeah.
pretty nice.
There's a lot that you can do that makes the Wyvern really viable, which is cool.
Magnus getting respect banned out against Alliance because they also have the flex potential, like we mentioned, Limp or S4. And Alliance also banning out the 23 Savage Monkey King. Still has the Morphling available, which at this point I don't even consider it to be like one of his favorite heroes because he just has not been playing it that much this tournament.
I'm sorry, I can't respond to that, but I gotta say, I know why Whitemon stands in trees so much during his games and why he's counter pushing and all this stuff. He's eating chips during the game.
Oh, that's why.
That's what is happening. Yeah.
Yo, he should play some Bane.
I know Zephyr does that as well, but Whitemon he's always sitting in the safe lane defending the tower. He's eating. That's what's happening.
I believe it. We saw Lanham doing a lot of that in China DPC. He would be sitting around in trees as Bane, Quelling Blade his way around, probably munching on some chips.
That's a sick item, by the way. I love Quelling Blade on
you
support
do.
heroes.
Puck still not banned, so I assume T1 is gonna get it, and they also picked line, so they are possibly protecting that pick against themselves. If Alliance gets Puck, you still have Doom, you still have instant initiation once Lion gets the Hex. And for Alliance, they're protecting the backlines with Spectre. I see it quite often whenever there's Winter Wyvern pick, so you do not want to get instantly jumped or forced to use it only on Spectre to be able to run away.
Yeah, I think the Puck.
You think a lot.
I think so much all the time.
It's overwhelming
such
at
a
times.
problem. It's such a problem. Anyway, Puck would be great because there are a couple of ways you can look at it. The Winter Wyvern, I should say, is decent against Puck because you can set up with Curse, and that sets up for. Okay, so it's banned out. It's not happening. I heard Puck screaming in my ear. Yeah, there it goes, just like that.
just like every night.
Makes a lot of sense.
I hear Pudge screaming in my ears every single night.
I hear fresh meat every once in a while.
He just wants to be viable.
I know.
Maybe next match. That's all we can hope for.
I talked to the frog. You saw me in this opening panel. My little friend right here on my desk panel.
What are we gonna get here? What's still in there?
I mean, they knew the Doom was coming. They 100% knew that the Doom was going to be first phased. Part of the solution does seem Centaur, that you can run away from him, but also now you need to think of heroes that don't care about getting doomed, such as...
Great King, who is banned.
Okay, apparently Shadow Demon.
Shadow Demon Centaur, great lane, set up for the Centaur Stomp.
Ooh.
Lots of damage. The Shadow Demon's W does a lot of
Soul Catcher.
base damage, and then you set up for the Centaur to do his little bit of nuking. It's often enough to kill people between these two. And we got a Zephyr. Oh no, yeah, Zephyr Treant.
So
Very
forget
nice.
about the puck. You need to keep people in place. Use the Treant Protector, Overgrowth.
Yeah, that's pretty much the simple counter to it since Puck was banned out. Not a big fan of Shadow Demon plus Wyvern, both defensive supports. They don't tend to play aggressive, and it's also a good stun. Let's say you get out of the disruption, either Stomp from a Centaur, which Doom will be having, or a Lion Stun into Overgrowth, into Slow. So a lot of stuff to be set up at.
Shadow Fiend, Limp Shadow Fiend in 2021?
Okay.
You shift this Doom to position 3 right now and just take something on the mid lane, because it's really not that flip. I mean, you can still get the gold with Doom, that there's no doubt about it, especially if Shadow Fiend pushes out the wave, but I would prefer if it's something that puts a lot more pressure on the Shadow Fiend.
Now, normally I would say, like, oh, maybe a Templar Assassin, but that doesn't feel like a very Carl kind of hero. And they can also save it for the last phase, so they don't need to rush it. They already know the matchup, unless they're worried about bans.
Seems like a pretty good Storm Spirit game so far.
I was about to say it. They have no real stuns. You have Centaur Stomp. That's pretty much it.
It's all very projected stuns, and the Yule Scepter is going to come out at a point where Storm's also going to have items.
Dire team
Wait,
back.
you don't think this is a right-click Shadow Fiend? You think this is a Yule's Shadow Fiend?
Alliances turn to ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Turn to pick.
It's about to be that time. T1 getting close to punching their ticket to a rematch with VP in a grand finals, but maybe Alliance are gonna whip it out. That's right, first pick Hoodwink. It would be unprecedented. Who would ever do such a thing besides OG and Alliance like 10 other times this tournament? But besides that, that's the kind of tricky stuff you need to be throwing. You gotta throw all these curveballs T1's way. They know what to do.
Yeah, you gotta be nuts to first face Squirrel in an elimination game.
Yeah.
Yep. Axe, though.
That's okay there.
No.
You're on curveball.
I haven't been okay for the last 4 months. To be honest. It's been a long
I really
time.
do appreciate that you asked, though. Nobody asks.
Yeah, no one ever asks like how you guys doing. It's always like, what do you guys think about these picks?
Yeah.
And, like
They
who's
always say
gonna win?
when's the draft, but they never ask how's the draft.
There we go.
How is this draft though?
T1 Doom again.
Okay, the draft is great.
Congratulations to
Question
T1 making it into the grand finals. Oh, we'll see. There's a reason Alliance is leaving this in. They feel confident they
Insanity?
can deal with it.
There it is. That's
Okay.
the answer. That's how you disengage. Why not get Puck here?
Yeah, that's right. Carl Puck, Cuckoo Doom. Let's do it.
Carl Puck, Cuckoo Doom
10
sounds fine to me. You just want
seconds
to have someone that holds them in place while there's a
5 seconds
stampede
remaining.
going on, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. Maybe they're not gonna first phase it to keep things open, to have this Doom being able to be played. And there we go. Sorry
There's my
about
boy
that.
Whitemon.
Whitemon always munching on something. This time around, it seems like a chips.
Yeah. With some salt and vinegar, maybe some sour cream and onion. I don't really see any particles on that chip. It looks maybe
on.
just a straight potato.
Insert it. Eat the chip.
I need to test why its crunch consistency.
We need to see the chip.
March is
eaten.
like. Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
he just
sick-
a nibble.
He's nibbling on it.
Just a little nibbler.
I see. Okay.
Oh,
He's enjoying his food.
Whoa,
I
man,
appreciate
I don't
that.
think I've ever done that.
I don't savor chips like that.
This is this is like a Canadian way of eating. I really appreciate
Really?
it.
Don't
Yeah.
you guys have ketchup chips?
We do, yeah. No, those are great to nibble on and just suck the ketchup right off. And
That.
you don't even need to eat the chip. You just suck the ketchup. Anyway, back into the draft. Get him off
Talking
the
about.
screen. I'm
Fuck,
not.
it's the mana drain from Lion.
Of course.
10
Of
yes.
course.
remaining.
You know, it's something to prevent the disengage. If you can just blow a hero
5
up
seconds
so
remaining.
quickly that the disengage coming out wouldn't even matter. That's always a little bit of a counter. Also, you can just blow up the centaur before the fight even starts. Blow up the
Alliances
wyvern
turn to
before the fight
battle.
even starts. Whoever presents more of a problem, they
Burst.
just become your focus.
Magic burst damage against the cold embrace. You've heard it time and time again if you've been watching these panels. This Wyvern is incredibly popular and is probably high on the list to get nerfed. Which is okay. How about NA DPC? Because I know
10
SCA, China DPC, we didn't see that much Wyvern.
We didn't.
This was an animator thing.
Yeah,
5
pretty much.
How about NA
seconds
DPC?
We saw wyvern.
You did?
It wasn't with this holy locket though. It was the Witch's Blade right-clicking wyvern.
Oh, you saw core Wyvern.
Yeah, well, no, so for Wyvern, but building these kind of core items,
Oh.
Orchid and Witch's Blade. And
Okay.
it looked good, and I think that's one of the big reasons why this hero is so viable as a first phase, because there are multiple ways of building her. You can do the Witch's Blade and be a right-clicker. You can go for the Ether Lens and be a kind of counter-initiator hero. And then you can also...
So Agate Scepter yesterday, which was
Yeah.
pretty nice.
There's a lot that you can do that makes the Wyvern really viable, which is cool.
Magnus getting
10
respect banned
seconds
out
remaining.
against Alliance. Because they also have the flex potential, like we mentioned,
5
Limp or
seconds
S4.
remaining.
And Alliance also banning out the 23 Savage from Monkey King.
Alliances turn
Still has his
to
Morphling
battle.
available, which at this point, I don't even consider it to be like one of his favorite heroes, because he just has not been playing it that much this tournament.
I'm sorry, I can't respond to that, but I gotta say, I know why Whitemon stands in trees so much during his games, and why he's counter pushing and all this stuff. He's eating chips during the game.
Oh,
10
that's
seconds.
why.
That's what is happening. Yeah.
Yo, he should play some Bane. We saw,
I know Zephyr does that as well, but
5
Whitemon was
seconds
he's
remaining.
always sitting in the safe lane defending the tower. He's eating. That's what's happening.
I believe it. We saw Lanham doing a lot of that in China DPC. He would be sitting around in trees as Bane, Quelling Blade his way around, probably munching on some chips.
That's a sick item, by the way.
Yeah.
I love Quelling Blade on
No, you
support
do.
heroes.
Puck still not banned, so I assume T1 is gonna get it, and they also picked line, so they are possibly protecting that pick against themselves. If Alliance gets Puck, you still have Doom, you still have instant initiation once Lion gets the Hex. And for Alliance, they're protecting the backlines with Spectre. I see it quite often whenever there's Winter Wyvern pick, so you do not want to get instantly jumped or forced to use it only on Spectre to be able to run away.
Yeah, I think the Puck.
You think a lot.
I think so much all the time. It's just
It's overwhelming
such
at
a
times.
problem. It's such a problem. Anyway, Puck would be great because there are a couple of ways you can look at it. The Winter Wyvern, I should say, is decent against Puck because
Alliances
you can
turn
set up
to
with
pick.
Curse, and that sets up for so it's banned out. It's not happening. I heard Puck screaming in my ear. Yeah, there it goes, just like that.
Just like every night.
a lot of sense.
I hear Pudge screaming in my ears every single night.
I hear fresh meat every once in a while.
He just wants to be viable.
I know.
Remaining.
Maybe next patch. That's all we can hope for.
I talked to the frog.
5
You saw me in this
remaining.
opening panel. My little friend right here on my desk panel.
What are we gonna get here? What's still in there?
I mean, they knew the Doom was coming. They 100% knew that the Doom was going to be first phased. Part of the solution does seem Centaur, that you can run away from him. But also now you need to think of heroes that don't care about getting doomed, such as...
Raid King, who is banned.
Okay, apparently Shadow Demon.
Shadow Demon Centaur, great lane, set up for the Centaur Stomp. Ooh, lots of damage. The Shadow Demon's W does a lot of
Soul
base
capture.
damage, and then you set up for the Centaur to do his little bit of nuking. It's often enough to kill people between these two. And we got a Zephyr. Oh no, yeah, Zephyr Treant.
10
So
seconds
forget about
remaining.
the puck. You need to keep people in place. Use the Treant Protector, Overgrowth.
5
Yeah,
seconds
that's
remaining.
pretty much the simple counter to it since Puck was banned out. Not a big fan of Shadow Demon plus Wyvern, both defensive supports. They don't tend to play aggressive, and it's also a good stun. Let's say you get out of the disruption, either stomp from a Centaur, which Doom will be having, or Lion Stun into Overgrowth, into Slow. So a lot of stuff to be set up at.
Shadow Fiend, Limp Shadow Fiend in 2021?
Okay.
You shift this Doom to position 3 right now and just take something on the mid lane, because it's really not that flip. I mean, you can still get the goal with Doom, that there's no
10
doubt about it,
seconds
especially if
remaining.
Shadowfin pushes out the wave, but I would prefer if it's something that puts a lot
5
more
seconds
pressure on
remaining.
the Shadowfin.
Now, normally I would say, like, oh, maybe a Templar Assassin, but that doesn't feel like a very Carl kind of hero. And they can also save it for the last phase, so they don't need to rush it. They already know the matchup, unless they're worried about bans.
Seems like a pretty good Storm Spirit game
Storm Spirit
so far.
was about to say it. They have no real stuns. You have Centaur Stomp. That's pretty much it.
It's all very projected stuns, and the Yule Scepter is going to come out at a point where Storm's also going to have items, so it's...
Wait, you don't think this is a right-click Shadow Fiend? Do you think this is a Yule's Shadow Fiend?
It's just that the Yule Shadow Fiend does better versus the Storm, so if he does go for that build, it's still not much of a concern. If he goes for the right-click SF build, then it's no concern whatsoever
That's it.
to be Storm versus SF.
Turn to ban.
Man, I remember many moons ago, Alliance famously got Centaur plus Shadow Demon nerfed, because Retaliate or Return back then used to work on towers and illusions.
Oh, yes.
And I remember watching a tier 3 high ground siege in the mid lane with two Shadow Demon Centaur
10
illusions
seconds
taking it down
remaining.
single-handedly.
I'm shocked that
Whoa.
T1 picks Luna into the
5
Shadow
seconds
Demon. You
remaining.
just
Team
imprison Luna and get a better version of her from the illusion.
You don't get to play Dota. I think this is one of the biggest baits I've seen, because Shadow Demon's job will be, I use Disruption and I use Ulti on Luna. That's gonna be pretty much it, because there's still one support that can save people. That's
10
Winter Wyvern, can
seconds
split up the
remaining.
fight with the Ulti. So pretty bad matchup overall.
5 seconds
It's actually one of the
remaining.
worst matchups you can get for Luna.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I suppose there is some consideration here from T1 about the kind of timing that Alliance is going for with these heroes. As was already mentioned, these two supports are not very aggressive unless you have something that you're specifically setting up for with the SD. Centaur, to me, is not enough. You'd probably need a mid laner that you're setting up for. SF is a little too slow. Maybe Alina would have been better if you want to play fast. And so
She's banned, yeah.
Possibly the Luna is just this idea of, by the time this Luna is countered, we're going to have so many items on her because you are not able to pressure us in the early game.
T1 betting out TB. No surprise there. Imagine having Terrorblade with the reflection on top of
Alliance's
Shadow
turn
Demon,
to
who makes
ban.
illusions of Luna. Actually makes it unplayable.
Luna just will not be able to play.
I'm still baffled that they went for it at all, because even if they are going for what you're saying, every item that Luna gets also works against her with the Shadow Demon. So she gets stronger and stronger. I guess
10 seconds
Butterfly
remaining.
is somewhat useful,
True.
but
5 seconds
they ban out
remaining.
the Life Stealer.
I think T1, they need something that is going to deal with the SD to make the Luna work.
Dire team.
And I would imagine they've already talked about it. Maybe they think that's the Doom. Maybe that's the Lion's job. And possibly they're going to pick some backline jump in the end, maybe a Storm Spirit to take out this SD, because I don't see them picking this without some
Alliance's
idea behind it.
turn to
Obviously,
pick.
if we know that this is a crazy counter, than they do as well.
They're having so much fun. Like this team is, it's an old school counter to Shadow Fiend. I don't think it works anymore considering the Shadow Fiend, all the buffs that he had, but before Tiny was considered, you know, just blow him up, but with the addition of the neutral items, raindrops, water runes, I don't think that's doable anymore.
Choose your hero.
And Nico Baby picks up something demonic sounding. What was that hero? Chaos Knight.
Okay. I like Chaos Knight as a hero, but into tree it is quite a pain. You just, all of the illusions are rooted and you become very sad.
Sure, but then if he manages to make his way to a scepter, he also frees everybody when he casts Phantasm.
True, but he is a carry Chaos Knight, so that'll be like a 5th item.
Or a blessing.
Yeah, true. Lots of Roches.
Yeah, these are weird. I mean, I guess, you know, Illusion Hero with Shadow Demon, that's always a fun combo to do.
Oh, it's Whitemon on Treant Protector, too, so they're playing 5 tree with the Luna.
Oh, yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know how I feel about CK. I've seen a lot of CK on the offlane during the Chinese season DPC 2, and it looked pretty damn good. As a carry role, when you have a Shadow Fiend on your team, I don't think I like it. Like, you can make some of the extra illusions. Maybe you get a Manta Style or that Axe that you mentioned to be able to get out of the Treant Protector ulti, get those illusions going. But there's a decent amount of AoE coming out from T1. They got Tiny, they got Luna. Sign me up for T1.
In this game, SF should definitely go for the Magic build and have CK be more of the traditional carry. I think that makes a lot more sense with the timing and who they want to fight around. Have you guys played a support late game against current CK? He just stuns you, and there's a CK illusion for 6 seconds doing 100% damage to you. It's the saddest thing to be a support against that.
That's the shard we're talking about.
The shard is ridiculous.
But have you heard the gospel of Eon Disc? Let me tell you, if you
can pop it. You can pop an Eon Disc.
That's true, yeah.
Their range on it is so huge that it would legitimately be a counter to Eon Disc, I think. Oh yeah, pretty good.
Good enough to make you go for Alliance?
Yes, I think so. I like them.
Okay, well, we'll have to see what these exotic picks are all about. The Luna into the Shadow Demon, Chaos Knight, which Insania actually played as a carry in their Liquid run, but not too much success. Let's see how it all goes down. Game number 2 with Capitalist and Kyle.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We get to see T1. Not only did they get their hands on the Doom again, Kyle, but they also got the Treant Protector, which is the combo that they beat LGD with, I believe, in like game 2 of that series.
Yeah, I can't believe they got Doom. Alliance certainly answer it better, but T1 have demonstrated that this is probably their favorite hero in Dota to utilize, and you can see why when now it's Cuckoo playing it, and they're able to then flex Carl onto a matchup mid that's going to be better suited to taking on SF. I will say I do disagree with Jenkins a little bit in the Magic build SF. I think SFCK is really cool because the minus armor stacking potential. Maxed out Presence of the Dark Lord gets you to -7, and then max out Reality Rift is -6 to the target. So that's a pretty impressive amount of physical damage they're able to output based on that. But we shall see.
Part of SF versus Luna, like, this is a matchup that is pretty old in Dota, and if you do go a right-click build, like the advantage that SF has against Luna, like these Drows, for example, they just have the range advantage on Luna.
Yeah, this point, you know, you're building for like that butterfly, satanic, natalist style time, right? Which are obviously, those are all very expensive items, but the idea is that yes, you go toe-to-toe, you have the mixed damage to threaten as well, and then the AoE fear if it's necessary. So, I mean, you're definitely going to have the Doom target painted on your back this game as Limp, but theoretically his Wyvern should have an easier time helping him out. But once again, I think T1, they're going to go for these early BKBs, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult for FNG to really turn things around.
Now, they pointed this out, Whitemon is going to be the one playing the Treant Protector. I think it's so interesting that these two supports can kind of swap around, because again, the last time that they played this Treant Protector against LGD, they had Lion Treant Protector. It was just they had Zephyr playing the tree and Whitemon playing the Lion. So they are just apparently fearless and swapping around these heroes between the two of them.
Yeah, and I really like what they've done too. So they play aggro, block the wave offensively so that they can now ensure lane control with their tri-lane. Both supports are going to block camps with their bodies. This is a really cool way to play Luna Probably one of the best carries for aggro tri-laning in Dota 2.
Yeah, and it's not like the Doom is going to be that pressured. It looks like he's already taken a bit of damage, but ultimately you have Devour. So even if the lane goes a little bit rough, you always have that farming mechanism. Disruption, and Whitemon takes a bit of damage, but ultimately they're being zoned out of the creep wave right now. That does not feel good.
They got a lot of denies as well. Even the support's helping out with a couple. Mid matchup for Carl isn't ideal. I mean, SF is going to farm and he shoves the lane better than you. So end of the day, he will always be able to get water runes. But Tiny does have some really nice kill threat, and both supports could play a role if they want to try and take out Limp. But as you said, top lane Cuckoo, he's just getting XP on the tower. So he's going to be just fine up there.
Turning on the Whitemon here, who didn't really land the best grass Hanskin. It's actually really going for this one, but I don't think he can actually get the Shadow Poison stacks to kill Whitemon, as it's only level 1 anyway. They're going to block the camps once again and continue to keep the creep equilibrium firmly in their favor. Limp does manage to finally kill that Observer ward, so he is going to have a bit of an advantage on Carl. Not only just the range versus melee matchup, but now an experience advantage as well.
This is one of those really cool maneuvers that I love to see. When you consider, like, the reason they have this edge in the side lanes is because they game planned around wave control. And obviously Alliance, like, they don't expect an aggro tri-lane, so they don't think to do the same top. And if you check up there, you know, Cuckoo still has that wave pretty close under his tower. He rotated jungle, wanted to grab ice armor, so he won't miss a full XP on the wave. But you can just see in the CS disparity, like, Doom is going to be okay, whereas bottom lane, like, they actually just don't have a move. Like, once again, the double supports are going to block the camps, and Alliance, like, they can't stick in the lane. It's way too close to tower, and the chase potential of an Orb of Venom tree, did that? Okay, I was wondering. I've never seen that interaction before, but yeah, if you're banished, you'll still block the spawn. Okay.
He is going to get stomped here. They're going to build up a lot of damage. These illusions are doing a lot of work, but they're going to turn around onto S4 with AC. That'll heal up Whitemon. Then he is not threatened. In fact, he gets the first blood against S4.
Yeah, he's just keeping lane control. Like, this is beautiful from T1. They're going to trade free farm, but the thing about this is that when you win the aggressive tri-lane and you can keep lane control, it makes it so much harder for Alliance to react. Because a support coming top to Cuckoo, they'll have a level advantage. So suddenly in a 2-on-2 scenario, they're going to be able to equalize. Whereas bottom, if a support leaves, Luna with a huge XP and gold advantage is going to be just fine in the 2-on-2 to zone out almost as hard as they're doing currently. Mid, though, that's where Alliance have an edge. And I think Limp may need to get aggressive maybe earlier than he would like in terms of rotating around the map, because no one else on his team really can. They don't have a support that's made to rotate, so it's going to have to be the SF.
In which case, that leads us back to kind of the magic damage build, right? Because that's usually how SFs build if they need to be more aggressive than normal.
I mean, just like, you know, the same way we saw Nothing to Say at the major, you know, on his Leshrac. Just kind of move over, grab a rune, a couple quick spells, find a kill. I just mean like, hey, I'm level 7 SF, I'm going to grab a rune and I'm going to go kill side lanes.
And that is something that I thought was interesting. I'm glad you mentioned Nothing to Say in the last track. That was how LGD tried to counter Tree Protector, was this overwhelming pushing power. Not this kind of like chip damage where Living Armor is very effective. They would just bulldoze down towers. And I don't think Alliance is going to have that same opportunity.
No, definitely not. And I love the first easy camp spawn Hanskin's going to get is at 5 minutes.
May end up dying here as he's quite low, but never mind. The ice armor, man. What a nice pickup for him. Nico Baby's apparently not slowing down. He's really wants this kill. A 3-second stun, but he still cannot keep chasing. They do manage to kill S4, meanwhile, in the bottom lane.
Thing is, they put, I mean, that's a lot of points in Chaos Bolt early on. I typically see this at most 2 points.
Oh, they're going mid. Oh, he missed the toss back. And now Carl is actually in trouble. He's taking too much damage. Carl's going to have to run away before Lip can get that last hit in, but he's got the turn around, and he gets the final nuke, the 4th one to secure the kill onto the Tiny. What a big turn by Limp.
That was really well played. especially once he recognizes that he's not under threat because of the missed toss back, he immediately starts thinking, I'm killing Tiny here, and he lands it. Really, really good stuff. If he can get the rune now, he'll be in a dominating position.
And it is going to be bottom lane. That'll be contested as Hanskin will be forced to pick up the regen rune by Whitemon.
Yeah, that is big though, because if you give that to Limp, that is game breaking. Suddenly he gets
Radiant's
like 3 or 4 free
middle
camps in the
tower is
jungle,
under
then
attack.
comes back mid-level 7, full health, full bottle.
Prize is this?
Carl, man, I feel like if Carl kept running, he would have been good, but for whatever reason, he turns back around.
I like this from Limp though. A lot of SFs for some reason, they tend to stay brown boots for a little too long. I think Razor SF are 2 heroes that almost always should be buying treads, just because, you know, you're always getting a bottle, tread switching very effective, but more importantly, Limp, like you already hit so hard. Having just Agi treads, it's one of the most cost efficient items in Dota in terms of damage output for gold spent, so it's very value in this case. S4, poor man, he's level 4. He's trying to jungle.
Disruption into a stomp, so as they're killing neutral creeps, they might be able to kill a slightly bigger unit here. Zephyr, a 5th stack, and I think that'll probably kill. Nice juke. Can he do it again? Oh, the final one lands, and that is his death.
Does get a mana pool and does distract 2 heroes. However, but I mean, this is look at this Luna. He has Tread's Dragon Lance incoming. It's 7.5 minutes into the game. And the other benefit is that he's able to go this more greedy build, 2-2-2 at the moment. Nico, baby, those points in Chaos Bolt may come back to bite him because you really want max crit just ASAP for your farming speed. And the Chaos Bolt, if you scroll over it, it really doesn't scale well. That's why you typically only see like the 2nd point just to increase the minimum stun duration. But the damage, you know, it goes up from a max 40, min 20 increase. So really just not very point efficient. And more importantly, he's the hard carry for his team. So we'll see how that pays off. But either way, Luna looks like he's rotated into jungle. Oh my god, look at the stacks. We've already got
they've
so
been ready
many
for this one. Camp stacked, we're about even with T1 having 1 more total camps. Did they already clear out the Sentinel Alliance site? I must have missed it.
Yeah, looks that way.
So.
Either I'm sorry, I mean SF is a way of doing that. No matter how many creeps are in camp, he's killing them about as fast.
And he is going to be going the Hurricane Pike as well, so
Dire's top tower
looks to
is
be
under
more of a
attack.
right-click build as Echo Saber build up for Nico, baby. I'm almost beginning to
Radiant
wonder if
are
they just
scanning.
picked Chaos Knight because it's an Echo Saber hero. Everyone's buying this item.
It's possible. It's really nice against Luna, to be fair. Like, with no PL available, CK
Dire's top
is
tower is under
probably
attack.
just next best.
Radiant's
I was a
middle
little surprised. Was
tower is
Naga
under
banned
attack.
and I didn't see it?
I do not remember. I didn't notice a Naga ban.
Because I mean, PL Naga, maybe a Terrorblade are what you would look at first, but picking Terrorblade into Doom lines is a bit awkward, so more like it's like, you know, you need an illusion hero, it can go Saber too, why not?
Oh, damn. That positioning from FNG, that should have been a gank that killing the Chaos Knight or Winter Wyvern. One of them should have died there, but FNG creates just enough confusion in the Stampede gets him out of danger, so no kill on the first rotation from Carl.
Warrior.
Yeah, and Cuckoo not having the greatest time. This isn't going to be that super fat Doom game we saw previously. He didn't get a Midas at 7.5 minutes. Interesting from 23 Savage, though. He skips Mask of Madness. He's going to be rushing Yasha after the Dragonlance, so not as efficient at farming things like the big Ancient stack. You can see it's actually why he's going to back away. No, just kidding. He found a DD, so
Dire's
that is
top
the
tower
dream
is under
when you have
attack.
so much gold. And that's why he found the Possessed Mask, so you don't actually need Mask of Madness. That's pretty nice.
Nothing like Possessed Mask to just give you a free change up in your item build. And now they're going to farm out that Ancient stack. Nico, baby, is really posturing to try and take this top tower, but I don't know. Cuckoo just
Dire's
seems to be
middle tower
constantly
is
in
under
their
attack.
way, and if they really need to, they can always bring the Train Protector up there, because Whitemon is now level 6 without the use of the Tome, I believe. So all this solo experience he's gotten bottom lane, thanks to Luna, trying to do, just jungling up, means that they are at a bit of an experience advantage as well. Oh, never mind. Maybe it's just on the support. The Lions is actually ahead in that regard.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, it's Limp too, though. Limp is level 11. So this is just the SF effect, especially when you get that solo kill middle. And yeah, I do like this. It'll be at least starting as the right-click build. I think that Dragonlance into big items is the way to play this hero now. Magic build isn't bad. It's just if you want a magic build SF, you should probably pick a different hero. That would be how I'd look at it. Like Leshrac as an example, who just can itemize solely for survivability and provide earlier tower pressure.
Do you feel like T1 is pressured because this SF is getting so big and like slightly concerned? Do you feel like they're okay with the status quo like they were in game 1?
No, they're certainly playing as if they are, but to your point, they don't really have the best. Well, we talked about how nothing to say in the Leshrac beat T1's Treant. You don't really see Alliance with that same kind of pressure. Sure, you could blow Phantasm and maybe look to make a play for structure, but so far they're just content to farm their side of the map, and I don't know if I can agree with that because Luna at this pace gets really scary. Yeah, you're playing against enemy counter picks to a degree, but nothing counters you when you're 5 to 10k ahead of the game, and he's on pace to get there at the moment.
They're going to 3-man smoke up. They are not moving to try and defend the safe lane tower. Instead, they're trying to set the pace by going mid behind Limp, expecting somebody to defend this. And it will be the Train Protector and maybe Carl as well. Carl showing up with the Ace Rune is going to be able to get the toss back before the Winter's Curse can stop him. He just lines up the race. It's a triple kill for Limp. Make that a quad? Potentially? No, man. Lion. He's gonna skedaddle here. Nico's gonna try and chase him down. Actually does manage to catch up. Boy, Chaos Knight's up next hero. So they get the 4th kill in there as well. Take the mid tower. Great play from Alliance.
Really nice. That was what was missing from that first game, where they would make a move and T1 would be prepared. In this case, yeah, T1 they set up a defense, but Alliance immediately, you can see the Wyvern Curse. Treant, he wants to get the big root off, but by wandering too close, just allows the easiest Requiem stomp setup I've seen in some time. They lose the tier 1 tower
Dire's
as
middle
well,
tower is under attack.
and that is somewhat disastrous, really, for T1. All their eggs now firmly in the basket of their Luna,
Dire's
who,
top tower
as stated, is ahead in net worth, but really not suited at killing SFCK as the game wanes on.
And Nico Baby already having a Sanj after the Echo Saber pickup. Same Sanj pickup for Limp as well. T's building S and Y. S4 takes the top tower. And this is all before Whitemine. We've seen this before from their Train Protectors where they go the high levels of Grasp and try and farm up to a point where they can get to level 10 and like higher levels of living armor. But now they lost 2 tier 1 towers, and they're not able to play that slow attrition game that T1 usually does with the Train Protector.
And I would love to see,
Radiant's
people,
bottom tower
don't
is under
recognize
attack.
that Moonglaves are affected by damage block. This is another thing from the Googling before, but now they're gonna stampede up safety. Well, you'd be surprised. I don't see any of the Crimson Guards picked up against Luna. That's what I was going to ask for, because if you see Nico Baby run in, let's say he gets Phantasm off, and you Crimson on top of those illusions, the Glaives are just going to get absorbed. So it's not just about keeping CK Illusions alive, but then the team of Alliance don't really fear Luna's damage really as much. So I do hope S4 goes to early Crimson here, probably after the blink he's looking at completing now.
What is that? That was 10 to 10 camp stack. So both teams having a very similar idea here as my NA Quickmans go to work. And as a result, I mean, we're just having kind of if it wasn't for that smoke move from the Alliance, we would just have a very slow game. Because what, they got 4 kills in that? Yeah, it would be 2 to 2 right now at 15 minutes with both sides just farming up constantly.
And it was big as well because it was before Savage could really make his advantage felt. SNG, night vision disadvantage.
Yeah, because of that, they're going to be able to quickly kill FNG. Looks like they were a little bit scared of a winner's curse or something.
And they certainly
Why
got
did
him.
they blow 2 ultimate for him? What the hell?
I don't know, Carl's going for a Midas cap right after the Blink Dagger. And Cuckoo already has his. So, interesting. T1, you know, this is their style, right? They have these really strong mid-game heroes. Their lanes are tough. But with double Midas plus a Luna, they're not really going to fear Alliance's scaling potential as much.
You know, I would doubt
Dire's
their
middle
capabilities
tower
of
is under
playing this
attack.
late game, but I've doubted that once
Radiant's
before.
bottom tower
And,
is under attack.
I don't know, man. T1 just has a way of making things work. They just seems to have like really good reads on the game in that regard. So we'll see. Double Hannah minus for them between Cuckoo and Carl, and then a Luna that's constantly farming up stacks. So they're looking to just play the economy game.
Yep, and I love this from Alliance, though. They get Nahaz's favorite, DD Rune outside the Roche pit with Wyvern. You can sustain your heroes as you tank through it. They also have the Medallion, so dives them very quickly.
Radiant's bottom
And
tower
T1, again, double Midas, they're playing for macro. A real way to threaten Alliance in the pit.
Purge slowing down Cuckoo, but he does manage to blink away first. Tonskin close enough to get the disruption off, so an ultimate that will be on cooldown, but I kind
Radiant's
of
bottom
doubt
tower is under attack.
that T1, maybe they are. I don't know, I'm kind of doubting that T1 can defend this against an Aegis, but they're setting up like they can, so I guess we're about to find out. They don't even have Carl in the area
Dire's top tower is under
yet.
attack.
Ward placed up on the high ground there. I think Hanskin may have a bit of an inkling that that was done, but you can see this very aggressive ward right in front of the tier 2. They know that T1 is a team that likes to make these kind of moves, so they're trying to prep for it. They're actually smoke over the mid though.
Gotta be
Radiant's
careful of
bottom
trying to
tower
take team
is under
fights into a
attack.
Luna lineup at night.
Dire's
Especially
middle
the
tower
initiation.
is under attack.
He didn't stampede blink. You need to stampede blink to get the instant damage, but now twice T1 has managed to counter blink the initiation of Alliance.
Huge, and this is the dream for them, because now they've just bought time for themselves. They have no desire to fight into Aegis. So far, they've been able to avoid it. I love the build from Olympia. Dragonlance into Daedalus looks like his choice. It's all
Dire's
about the
middle
overwhelming
tower
damage
is under
pressure.
attack.
But he might need a BKB first, to be quite honest, because T1, how is he gonna... The root, the doom, the line initiation, the tiny initiation, all of this would just destroy Limp's game. And then you can see the nice reactions from Carl. It's those land reactions right there.
This is so interesting. Both T1 and Alliance were kind of setting up. Alliance did have, thanks to their deep wards, they saw the movements of T1, but they were both playing underneath their vision at some point in time and waiting for the other to crash into them. And because that doesn't happen, T1 instead now playing around their tier 2. Sentry going down, they spot the Observer ward.
Savage with the Grove Bow feels very good. In addition to the Dragonlance, he's now at pretty much base SF range, so won't be as punished by Limp. Will still have a bit of an advantage thanks to the Dragonlance of his own. It's very nice, though, to play around your multiple melee cores. Will the smoke move come out is the
Radiant's
question.
bottom tower is under
Aegis
attack.
still possessed by Limp for another 2.5 minutes. Alliance would really love a fight for a tier 2. Outpost control, very critical this early into a game.
They really wanting to go on the Aegis hero here. The ward from T1 spots him, but again, don't want to go on the hero with the extra life right now. They still have Carl like farming out these other areas. They're going to smoke themselves in.
Radiant
And this high ground ward of Alliance may be a bit deceiving. The smoke, they're going to move in and be able to spot some heroes here with the daytime vision. They see Nico, baby, and they're going to plan their execution. They're going to jump on him with the Hex of Doom. Immediately, Chaos Knight is just out of the team fight. They're going to stampede and try and get everybody else out on the side of Alliance, but Cuckoo, he's going to chase. Same goes with Carl, missing out on the toss, which I think he wanted on an ally. Maybe tossing the Tree Protector with an Overgrowth and a Centaur stun. You got to be careful. Jumping forward, Lion going for Limp, trying to keep him disabled and out of this game, but at the same time, they've already lost their Tree Protector, and Zephyr just dies to the heavy amount of physical damage from SF. A Crystallis crit is very scary for these squishy supports.
Yeah, really nice job from Liv. Recognize, look, iVegas, they've chased us too far. You saw FNG pump fake his ultimate, and T1 recognized we just can't go in. Overlap, used way too many spells on the initial target.
They're gonna go back in, I think. They got the Doom set up. Winter's Curse immediately catching him out now. The Raven goes. Oh, Jesus. Goku, he almost dies to it, but he actually does manage to stay alive. The BKB, 23 Savage are going to toss. Oh, God. Life was not what he expected. The Glaives off the Winter's Curse, pretty much solo killing his first life.
Wow, I didn't know that it worked. They were bouncing back and forth between the cursed hero and Limp's SF. Like, he just died to Glaives. That was a crazy interaction. And yeah, he just dies. And there's the Chrysalis, as you said, the damage output sick, but no BKB, Cap. So on respawn, he's just immediately dead.
Oh dear. And now T1, their hand of minus are gonna pay off. We're gonna launch that one again. Look at the Glaives.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh my god.
I mean, S4, I think maybe did him a disservice there by just providing the glaive bounce. And beautiful from Carl just to follow up.
I think from that panic as well, they missed the Requiem damage on Winter's Curse. So just one bad thing after another. A 3,000 net worth lead for T1 as they are beginning to find that their Midases are definitely going to pay out big dividends if they can continue this. They'll have a big net worth lead going into late game, and in which case, I don't know exactly which lineup I really prefer, but I mean, just economy game, you got to be back in T1. They're soon going to have a Scotty on the Luna, it looks like, so she's damn far.
And it feels like 2 games in a row now, Alliance just kind of, for lack of a better phrase, they get too many selfish items. You know, a bit of the what I call the BSJ bias, where instead of buying game-winning items like BKB, they go for the Sanj and Yasha, right? Which isn't bad, but when you get like Dragonlance and SNY and Chrysalis, suddenly you just don't have a BKB. Whereas if you look at the T1 philosophy, their Doom says, okay, look, I'm not going to get anything like no drums, no Solar Crest. I'm just buying a Midas. Now I'm good to scale. This counts as my one macro move. Immediately I'm buying BKB. And the only reason T1 can confidently take that fight is because 23 Savage, he has a BKB. Like, he's not targetable. He's not killable by this Alliance lineup. And really...
and why is BSJ in that term? Is it just because you wanted to use the term bias?
No, it goes back to when we were first playing. So NEL, first season, Sumail wins. He goes on. It's an in-house league in North America. Sumail wins it. He goes on to play with EG, and they do great. BSJ, he actually won that second season. So this was back when he wasn't biased BSJ, but big-headed BSJ. And I would tell him, please, Brian, I understand your gyrocopter. Like, please stop, buy BKB. Stop buying Sanj and Yasha every game. And he would never listen to me. And then he didn't join my team. He joined IX Mike's team. And now we're all good, but definitely with some animosity due to his forever lack of BKB purchasing.
Well, T1, as we've got a bit of issues here. They're just having a good old time, and they should be. I mean, they're feeling this game right now, and I believe the win percentage was heavily favoring Alliance for most of this game. I think in part because of the carry matchup. The Dota Plus had them like above 75% win percentage, but they've managed to pull that back down to near even, which is actually better than what the game started at. The game started with Alliance being favored. It looks like 55, maybe even 60-40.
I think.
Would you agree with that? Do you feel like
Dota
it was a big
Plus,
outdraft?
Dota Plus does not like Luna.
Okay.
And just to clarify, before on to the game cap, just saying, Brian is a lovely guy. He's very sweet, very humble, and it's all in good fun. You can make fun of your friends, guys.
Yeah. But of course, Brian's friends with a lot of Twitch chatters, so that's why they also make.
That's true. He's just a lovable guy.
Everybody in Twitch chat that's spamming bias, lol, they're all actually.
Yes, exactly. He's very popular. One of the most popular streamers in Dota 2, of course. Speaking of popular, T1, I think, have earned a lot of fans through both their performance in the major and so far ESL One Summer. I just love, like, these guys never seem to take a game off, right? Like, no matter what, like, I had I'll be honest, low expectations for them coming into the major, but they're demonstrating like this SEA region is one to be feared. You look at the qualifiers, and on paper you're like, oh man, EU's got to be the hardest because OG, Enigma, and Liquid, and Viking, etc., etc. But then you look over to SEA, and it's actually like kind of terrifying because they only have that one spot. TNC, OB Esports, Fnatic, Execration, Boom, Omega, and then the Team SMG, my pick to win it, has mid 1 KP, like stacked rosters with like average 10k MMR is like the norm, and T1 are the best of the region. So I guess we shouldn't have been surprised when you consider how deep the field is. But I was not expecting this consistency. Like they've really got something going, and they're riding it, not figured out. Although perhaps we can't know for sure because for some reason the Alliance doesn't ban Doom.
Yeah, they seem to be rather stubborn in that concept, insisting that they can beat it. And who knows, maybe that'll still play out. The Scotty now complete 423 Savage and almost has the level 20 talent coming in soon as well. What do we else? We got BKB on Cuckoo, Zephyr with the Blink Dagger. BKB is going to be coming up next for Carl, but he went back for an Echo Saber. So as Carl has just been, it seems like, focused on recovering his game. His other two cores are flourishing because of the space that's made. Now it looks like they're going to set up for a smoke. Let's see how Alliance is able to respond here. They don't quite yet have the Satanic done on Limp, which they would really want if this initiation comes true. Cuckoo, the smoke is going to break. It's going to jump forward. He does get a jumper straight off the Limp, but the two-man's done on top of it. The tiny combo is there as well. With a finger attack, they put it forward down. Now they're going to be able to catch up to Hanskin. 3 dead. Another beautiful initiation. Being on the low ground and still finding the right jump, that is so impressive. T1 is so good at initiating these late game team fights.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, the BKBs, Cap, they just pop them. FNG, what is Wyvern if Curse isn't able to be used properly? Like, 23 Savage, he just ran past and continued killing heroes because he's immune to the effects. Like, what does Wyvern accomplish for you? You know, a weak laner, yeah, you've got a Cold Embrace, but they have so much magic damage on T1, it doesn't really keep that hero alive for long. And 2 games in a row now, one mid team fight was great, but in this mid to late game period, FNG just feels completely neutralized.
Pulling it back in, they don't want to let 23 Savage walk away. He's going to be perched up. Disruption. This is kind of the sketchy people that we were talking about earlier. Luna's already dead. They did not respect how Shadow Demon counters a Luna, and now they're going to lose not only 23 Savage, but possibly Cuckoo as well. Blink away. 1 second. Oh, he had it for just a beat there. He pops a BKB, but I think he's still going to die as the Scorched Earth is up. He's going to get that movement speed, but the BKB does eventually run out. 2 cores dying there, and now Alliance can actually, if they want to, they can go straight to Roshan.
Yeah, that is pretty huge miss here for T1. They got a little greedy thinking they could continue pressuring for the rack. But if they just back immediately and wait for spells, they're going to be okay. But Hanskin, that was a great TP. Credit the improved range, because he actually was able to teleport to outside of the base and then disrupt from the low ground. That was only possible because of that change from the previous patch, where you wouldn't be able to just like TP to that spot. But either way, really nice job. And yeah, Luna disruption illusions, very strong.
Now Hanskin with a big smile on his face after that one. They do have the direct counter to Luna throughout most of the game, so they should not be too anxious about the fact that T1 is kind of out farming them just because they have, I think, the superior tools. They did not go Roshan, which I'm a little bit surprised considering their minus armor. They may not have known it was up. Winter's Curse going down just to be able to get the successful D ward off. Waymon will not die to that.
And either way, though, T1, they're still feeling confident. They would love a BKB on their Tiny, because then the entire squad can operate without fear of the Wyvern. But man, Limp is just committing. He's just skipping it entirely, going for a Satanic instead. Really nice to get the Titan Sliver, because the stacking status resist will now be very effective, and the CK is able to finish his up. So Nico Baby's ready to battle.
Radiant's top tower is under
on
attack.
S4. I really hope he finishes Crimson Guard, man. I'm telling you, people don't realize, like, Moon Glaives are like hard countered by Crimson Guard. Each glaive bounce functions as
Dire's
like an
middle
individual
tower is under
application
attack.
of damage that can be blocked.
Well, I just haven't seen a whole lot of Crimson Guards in general lately, so
Yeah.
maybe they just, you know, kind of forgot about the item as a concept, just because it's like, if it's underpowered, you don't really want to go for it. They're going to use the Stampede to try and get this out of here. They do counter-initiate, blowing up Zephyr immediately and almost catching 23 Savage. S4 just a bit shy there on the blink.
They're gonna find Roche. There's so much Midas armor. T1, they're gonna need a buyback. They want to defend this.
See, setting up T1, actually getting close without their Lion buying back. They are apparently, I mean, much like in game one, they had that situation, a blind blink in whiff there from Cuckoo, who just picked up the Aghanim Scepter. Oh god, the Shadow Demon. That breaks the Luna. So she's not going to have Moonglaves anymore, right?
No. So yeah, no need for Crimson Guard anymore. And that applies through BKB, so no Aura, no Glaives. Man, T1 are actually in a bit of trouble now. What's Cuckoo got? Because suddenly I'm looking at him as the main late game. Shiva's skipped, he'll go straight Refresher. But now they've got to find this SD.
Yeah. No, there's no way they can take a fight if Shadow Demon's just allowed to sit in the back. If he gets off the Disruption Purge
Radiant's
against
top
23
tower is
Savage,
under
you're going to
attack.
get Luna illusions that are stronger than the actual Luna herself, and she's broken. They're going to try and bait out 23 Savage a little bit, smoking behind him, but Alliance, they're not going to move for the obvious hero. They're going to smoke themselves up, sneak into the Roshan pit. If they want to go up into the high ground, they got to loop all the way around here. Trying to go up that funnel would be a disaster.
Yeah, this is something we haven't seen in what feels like a while. This long stare down across the river as both teams hold their high grounds.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. 23 Savage is playing for efficiency here. He's going to push out bottom lane and then TP back in, it's looking like. Jumping forward. Oh, jeez. Carl just going in BKB, but he's immediately perched up, and now Nico Baby with the illusions is going to chase after him. But the BKB does protect the Tiny enough that they're able to back away. 23 Savage is back here, but now they don't have a BKB up for the Tiny. Alliance, though, are still going to respect the team fighting power of T1. Now it's T1 who are going to loop around and try and find a better angle to start this team fight.
It's all going to come down to the initiation. Both squads recognizing that as well. No risks being taken.
Okay, so what is the dream initiation for Alliance? What are they looking for?
I think it's more about avoiding Doom on a critical target. They want SD to get all of his ults off. And they want to find a support if possible.
Showing up into the bit, they're going to get the swamp. Nico Baby, they're going to fall. Double ultimates for that. They do fly back though, and Kuko's going to be ripped apart by the physical damage. It looks like the Winter's Curse in the back line. Zephyr gets a little bit low, and they're going to try and catch up to him. They manage to get the disruption off onto him, but at the same time, Tiny going for Hanskin, trying to make sure that there's no more of that break mechanic as the the BKB, the Satanic now going out. They're going to hold him in place, but Nico Baby has to run away from 23 Savage. They're going to back instead and deal with FNG inside of the pit. They're going to buy back on the SF, but look at the damage. Roshan, S4, and Hanskin are both going to be dying here as the burnout Zephyr keeping himself magic immune with the manager until the rest of his team is here to help destroy Nico Baby. And potential buyback from him. They need to finish him off now, and Carl gets a triple kill. S4 though, he's going to be able to deal out the damage. Both Carl and White are so low, but they can't quite finish him up, and they cannot walk into 23 Savage's Luna, who's still hard, strong, has a Satanic, has an Aegis. They cannot win this fight anymore. They have to run away from the Luna. Hanskin does what he can with the illusions, but it's not good enough. Lynn needs to be able to get out the Requiem, but there's too many stuns. He's not going to be able to do this. It's going to be a dieback for him as well, potentially. As the Lions raining in, the toss back, and the combos from T1 are too damn strong.
They just destroyed them, Cap. Like, that wasn't a team fight win. They just embarrassed Alliance in the pit. Total outplays from 23 Savage. One of the only about 4 players in the world at 12 KMR plays like it. Like, just perfect positioning, saves his BKB for coming out of the disruption.
He's getting a deso, Kyle. He's gonna
Radiant's middle barracks are under
over.
attack.
Like, they have lost, what, 3 diebacks? And only
Radiant's
8 on 5.
fallen.
And even 8 on 5, Alliance can't win that
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
FNG.
GG.
He's gonna call it. He has
Radiant's
winners
middle tower
first, but
is
he
fallen.
knows his allies are dead for
Radiant's
too
middle
long. They threw
tower is
everything
fallen.
they had for
Radiant's
that
and Dire's
shot
victory.
fight. They used all their buybacks, and they quickly turned into diebacks in their hands. And T1, such a dominant victory. I was a little bit concerned for them once that happened.
Be up by that tier 2. If they kill Tiny there, they can pressure the tier 2 tower, minimum force a glyph, then maybe do some chip harass on the top tower. Instead, this forces them to say, okay, well, now we got to go try to get a grab again. They spot every T1 member on the top lane running towards the jungle, but their ward gets dewarded, so Alliance says, okay, we'll wait for them to run into us. And they sit here patiently, and they sit here, and they sit here, and they sit here. And eventually, I was like, all right, where the hell is T1? And I turn on the other vision, I'm like, oh, okay. They're perfectly positioned around the other tier 2 tower, saying, go ahead, go on our Luna. She's got BKB. She's ready to go. So they're just, and once again, scouting trees, they spot their opponents and say, okay, we can't go again. They're set up again. So it's just so frustrating playing against these teams that are moving correctly as a team. They very, very, very rarely make mistakes on the Alliance side. CK gets picked off. They say, well, okay, this doesn't look good. They get 2 more kills on the back line, and this looks great for Alliance, but then they make the crucial mistake at the tier 2. And T1 just does not give them the opportunities to make as many mistakes.
It's a game of cat and mouse that they were playing, or I guess in the case of a historical alliance, cat and rat. And T1 end up coming out on top. And I want to speak to one of the players responsible for it, someone who I'm always happy to see. Whitemon, congratulations on your win versus Alliance.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
So I've been enjoying your team, having a lot of fun in the webcams. You guys have been doing a lot of fun interviews. Is this the first time that you've met your teammates in real life for the Animajor, or had you known some of them, had you met some of them before?
We have met, my team is like in Singapore Major, yeah. But I didn't met Kuku for so long, yeah.
Right, yeah, so Kuku was the last missing piece. You guys got to meet him, I guess now, because even for Season 2 DPC, Kuku was at a different location, right?
Yeah.
So how do you like having everyone together? Does he? I can see you guys definitely enjoy each other's company. Do you find that helps your gameplay, having fun with each other?
Yeah. Actually, it's good for bootcamp.
If you win the grand finals, do you got any celebration, any dance moves prepared? Because I see you guys are having a lot of fun on the camera.
You got a song prepared, maybe?
No, we're just having fun. Yeah.
Just a thumbs up.
All right, I've got meme questions, but that was a couple, so I'll ask a Dota question. So I notice you guys flex between your heroes and Zephyr's heroes a lot. You play a lot of the same stuff, and I'm wondering what in the last game made it so that it was a good 5-tree game versus like a 5-lion game.
That game is because I just want to stay the lane, and the lion want to rotate. That's why lion 4 is better. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, what's your favorite snack to eat while you're drafting?
Lace. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were curious. What flavor of chips were you eating? Was it just normal potato chips?
Wait, let me see.
Yeah.
I think it's beef.
Okay, because I know
Lays is getting free sponsorship right now.
in an interview that you had earlier, you said, "Oh, the games are good. The food is." good, and you kind of paused. And I've spoken to many Southeast Asian players, and they always say the same thing. They say that it's really hard to get the food right whenever you guys travel. So were you being honest? Is the food actually good, or do you miss something from back home?
The food is not bad. Yeah, but
We're slowly working them down.
but in my country it's better the food. Yeah.
What's the plate that you're missing the most? Something that your mom used to make, or something that a restaurant you used to go to?
Just the homemade. Yeah. Homemade food is good.
Is there a
I miss
name,
them.
a specific name of a meal? Because I'm curious. I need to find out something to eat. You're Indonesian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So give me a good Indo plate that I can check out.
Sate Padang.
Okay. What's in it?
It's like satay, you know.
No, I don't know. What is this? Is this like a vegetable?
No. It's like the chicken.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued, okay. Well, we'll check it out. Well, I guess my last question is also a Dota-specific question. You guys already played VP and unfortunately lost, which is why you were in the lower bracket. What's going to be your preparation for, I guess, the next hour during our break? Are you guys going to just chill out, eat bananas and hang out, or are you guys going to start doing some draft studies?
For me and my team, I think we just trust on Cuckoo for the draft, and yeah, we just chill out.
Sounds good. It's been working well for you so far, but congratulations on a dominant 2-0 victory versus Alliance, and looking forward to your best of 5 against VP.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Those guys are awesome. I love those guys.
Yeah, I'm consistently satisfied with all of their interviews.
They were a little tame in that one.
Well, Wymon's the tamest of them all. And I don't think we've spoken to Carl either.
I mean, I remember the song, you know.
Yes, well, that wasn't his fault. That was Cuckoo's fault.
Okay, that was Cuckoo baited it.
Cuckoo baited him.
That doesn't surprise me, to be honest. It's always Cuckoo's fault.
Cuckoo's a troll expert.
He's wild.
He's wild.
He's a wild man.
Yeah, and something else is wild is that we have finally finished all of the games. We have now made it to the final 2, the grand finalists, Virtus Pro versus T1. The showdown already happened earlier, but we're going to get it in a best-of-5 series. We're going to have a break before that happens, unfortunately, but thankfully we have content planned. We've got another DHL piece for you. We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Grand finals coming up right after this.